Here's the truth. Attraction isn't born from kindness or logic or courtesy. It emerges from the deepest part of the primitive brain. The place where, in a fraction of a second, a woman decides whether you're unforgettable or invisible. Most men spend their lives trying to prove their worth. They present their qualifications like a job interview, hoping good intentions will be enough. And they will fail, over and over. Relegated to the friend zone, the great guy who never creates that spark, that tension, that deep, primal pull of obsession. Why? Because they're speaking a language the conscious mind understands, but the ancient, instinctual part of the brain, where raw attraction is born, simply ignores. But what if there was another way? A forbidden blueprint. A method so powerful it feels like a cheat code for human desire. They call it Machiavelli's Dirtiest method, a name designed to evoke power, fear, and forbidden knowledge. The name itself is a lie. Niccolo Machiavelli never wrote a word about seducing women. His masterpiece, The Prince, was a ruthless guide to political power. But here's the secret behind the secret. The principles of power are universal. The strategies he outlined for controlling a populace have been hijacked, reinterpreted, and weaponized for the modern age of dating. The truth is that the psychological techniques themselves are terrifyingly real. They have nothing to do with your looks or your money. They have everything to do with psychological control, emotional disruption, and the mastery of your own presence. In this video, you'll learn the 6 pillars of this dirty method. Simple, precise shifts that unsettle her when you're gone, make her addicted when you're near, and make you irreplaceable. These aren't tricks. They are psychological strategies that reprogram the way women respond to you at the most primal level. Stay until the end, because once you master them, you'll never chase anyone again. You'll become the gravity she cannot escape. The first pillar is movement. Movement means disruption. The art of breaking her rhythm, shattering her mental autopilot, and waking her from emotional sleep. Understand this. Modern women are constantly surrounded by men. Men in her messages, men at work, men orbiting her attention like satellites. But 99% of them blend into the same predictable background noise. They text the same lines, laugh the same way, follow the same tired script. They move in patterns that her brain has learned to ignore. Because the human mind, especially the reptilian brain, is not drawn to comfort. It's drawn to contrast. It's wired to notice what's different, what breaks the pattern, what feels slightly dangerous. And that's what you must become. Not another voice in the crowd, but the disruption itself. Picture this. A crowded room. Men are chasing her attention, moving too fast, speaking too loudly, their energy screaming neediness. And then there's you. Still, calm, deliberate. You don't chase energy, you command it. Your stillness becomes magnetic. Your body doesn't lean toward her, it makes her lean toward you. Your silence doesn't create awkwardness, it creates tension. The kind of silence that makes her wonder, who is this man? You have just seized control of her internal monologue. You've become a question she needs to answer. Machiavelli would have said it best. The prince who repeats the patterns of others is ruled by them. But the prince who disrupts the pattern becomes feared and desired. Here's the truth. Her nervous system is always scanning. Predictability equals safety. Unpredictability equals excitement. And while safety makes her relax, excitement makes her feel alive. When your presence breaks her mental script, adrenaline releases. Her pulse quickens, her breath changes. She can't explain it, but her body feels it before her mind catches up. The man who moves differently is the man she remembers. The man who breaks her rhythm becomes the man she dreams about. In a world of repetition, the one who disrupts becomes unforgettable. The second pillar is attitude. Here's the truth. Women don't fall for words. They fall for gravity. Every woman will test you, not because she's cruel, but because she must. It's instinct, older than language. She'll tease you, challenge you, pull away just to see what happens when the ground shakes. Can this man hold his center when chaos begins? Most men fail that test. They defend themselves. They explain too much. They chase her approval instead of holding their ground. And in that instant, she feels it. Weakness. Her attraction dies quietly, like a flame starved of air. But the dangerous man, he doesn't defend, doesn't chase, doesn't explain. He doesn't even flinch. He allows her energy to crash against his and break like waves against stone. His emotional state is not for sale. Machiavelli would have told you, never explain your authority. Sit on the throne and the throne will speak for you. That's attitude, the invisible crown. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. It's knowing who you are and refusing to step down from it. When she tests you, you don't try to prove anything. You simply watch. Let her feel the weight of your composure. If she accuses you, smirk. If she pulls away, you stay still, centered. That's the moment her primal brain wakes up. Because deep down, women don't crave validation. They crave stability. They want to feel the presence of a man who can remain calm when the world burns. And that's what dominance truly is. Not control over her, but control over yourself. Attitude is your unspoken command, the quiet confidence that says, I don't chase chaos, I contain it. Once she feels that, the test ends. Because she's no longer questioning your strength, she's surrendering to it. The third pillar is neglect, and here's the paradox. Desire doesn't grow when you give more. It grows when you give less. Modern men destroy attraction because they confuse attention with seduction. They flood her with it. Messages, likes, instant replies, believing the more they give, the more she'll want them. But biology doesn't work that way. The primitive brain values scarcity and ignores what's abundant. This is the art of neglect, not cruelty, not rejection, but the elegant discipline of absence. Machiavelli would have warned you, it's always the absent who are most spoken of. Here's why it works. The human brain becomes obsessed with what feels just out of reach. Think of a show that ends every episode on a cliffhanger. You can't stop watching, not because it was complete, but because it wasn't. When the conversation peaks, when her laughter flows, that is not the moment to stay. It's the moment to leave. Leave her mid-sentence. Leave her restless. Leave her craving resolution. Her primitive brain releases dopamine when she feels pleasure in your presence. But if you disappear at the height of that dopamine, her brain becomes addicted. She replays your last words. She rereads your last message. In her mind, you never leave the room. She feels your absence like hunger. You must become the unresolved tension she can't stop reliving. Your absence, used with discipline, can turn mild interest into a burning obsession. Because what she can't fully have, she can never fully forget. The fourth pillar is boldness. And this is where most men fall. They build attraction, they create tension, but when the moment of truth arrives, they crumble. Fear takes command. And in that hesitation, the spark dies a quiet death. Women don't wait for hesitation. They wait for boldness. They wait for a man who slices through doubt like a blade through smoke. Machiavelli once wrote, Fortune favors the bold, because fortune, like desire, is feminine. She does not bow to hesitation. She yields only to strength. Her primal mind responds not to words, but to energy, to the silent command of a man who moves when others freeze. Think of those charged moments. Her gaze lingers a second too long. The silence thickens between you. The air itself seems to tremble. Most men ruin that moment by overthinking, by searching for permission. But the dangerous man, he doesn't wait. He acts. He moves closer, touches her hand with quiet certainty, and draws her into his gravity without a single word. Here lies the paradox. Women will never confess it. They speak of patience and kindness. But beneath those layers, in the primal code of their biology, they ache for boldness. For the man who does not ask, but reads the moment and moves. This is not aggression, it's precision. You do not force when her body resists. But when the door opens, you walk through it without fear, without apology. That single act, that step forward when others shrink back, is what separates you from the countless men she forgets. The fifth pillar, the magnetic touch. Here's the truth. Words can lie. Presence can be faked. But touch never deceives. Long before language existed, humans spoke through skin. The skin was our first alphabet, and it still speaks louder than any word. The body remembers what the mind forgets. And every woman, no matter how guarded, is still wired to respond to the right touch at the right moment. But this is where most men fail. They touch too soon, too often, too desperately. Their hands speak the language of need, not power. And her body, wiser than her mind, rejects it instantly. Machiavelli would have warned you. The subtle weapon must be sharper than the obvious one. Touch is that weapon. When mastered, it bypasses her logic and goes straight to her reptilian brain, the part that doesn't analyze, only reacts. Here's how you apply it. Start with innocence. A light brush on her arm during laughter, a steady hand guiding her gently through a doorway. Small, casual, effortless, but with presence. Then step back, withdraw. Let absence do the talking, because the moment you remove your touch, her body begins to miss it. Longing takes root before her mind even realizes what's happening. You move with rhythm. Close, then distant. Contact, then pause. Safe, then dangerous. Touch, then silence. Your touch ceases to be a question and becomes a statement. It doesn't ask for permission. It becomes the permission. The final pillar is the most intricate. Cold reading. The art of making a woman feel so profoundly and uniquely understood. It's as if you can see directly into her soul. Machiavelli once said, "To rule men, read their fears. To rule women, read their hidden hunger." And that hunger isn't for attention, it's for understanding. For a man who can see what she won't confess, even to herself. Every person wears a social mask. But beneath it, everyone craves to be seen for the truth of who they are. Most men only interact with the mask. Cold reading is about bypassing that mask and speaking directly to the person behind it. You become a detective of her soul. To a woman who is strong and independent, you say, "Everyone sees your strength, but no one sees the weight of it. You're the one everyone leans on, but you have nowhere to lean yourself." To a woman who is a social butterfly, you're amazing at taking care of everyone's energy. But because you're so good at that, no one realizes you have a deep, analytical side that you rarely show. The effect is stunning. In her mind, you are no longer just another guy. You are the one person who sees her. The real her. A powerful bond of trust and intimacy is formed. This bond can easily become dependency, You become her emotional confidant, the one person she feels truly gets her. This is why cold reading is a cornerstone of this method. Its purpose is strategic, to create an emotional connection so deep and unique that you become unforgettable and irreplaceable. So, there you have it. The 6 pillars of the so-called Machiavellian method: movement, attitude, neglect, boldness, the magnetic touch, cold reading. As we've seen, this blueprint has little to do with the real Machiavelli. His name has been co-opted to give an air of forbidden power to a collection of modern psychological tactics drawn from behavioral science and the playbook of manipulation. And now you stand at a crossroads, armed with this knowledge. First, you can now recognize these tactics when they are being used on you. You are no longer blind to the mechanics of influence. You can protect yourself. Second, you have a choice. The ethical chasm is vast between using these principles to become a more confident, centered man, and using them to deliberately manipulate another person. The ultimate lesson here is not to become a master manipulator. It is to become the master of yourself. Build your inner throne not so you can rule over others, but so you are no longer ruled by your own insecurities. Understand the power of your presence and your absence. Seek to understand others deeply, not to control them, but to connect authentically. The knowledge is now yours. It is a tool. It can be used to build or to destroy. The choice of what you build and the man you become rests entirely with you. If you are serious about understanding the deep psychology of power, influence, and human behavior, both the light and the dark, then subscribe to this channel. We don't deal in surface-level advice here. We dissect the machine to understand how it truly works. Click the subscribe button and the notification bell, because what we uncover next will change the way you see the world. And in the comments below, let me know which of these 6 pillars you found most revealing. I read every single one. Become the gravity she can't escape.